Alrighty, let's go to our next one of our female-led movies. We have the No Man's Land sequence, which is the entering out of the trench of Wonder Woman, where she's just swatting bullets with her shield. It's the super emotional introduction of her in costume for the first time, versus the club shootout sequence in Collateral. And it's the second Michael Mann entry, which is also interesting. How did you score this?
7-3 Wonder Woman.
I went 9-1 Wonder Woman.
Okay.
I
Yeah, I
I,
mean,
I want to say my bias right away. This is one of my favorite scenes in movie history. It's
okay.
so emotional for me as a Wonder Woman fan, as a comic book fan, a DC nerd. But beyond that, I think this is the perfect melding of what it means to introduce a character and what it means to be an action. Like it's one of those moments where you go, that's why you're a hero. This moment, it's perfect.
Yeah. Well, it's one of the things that a lot of the DC movies lack, which is a hero moment, like a true hero moment.
Yes.
Because Man of Steel doesn't have something like that where it's a true like 100% triumphant moment.
Yes.
Man of Steel doesn't have it. Batman v Superman definitely doesn't have it.
Nope. Uh,
Suicide Squad, no.
no.
I'm trying to think of other
Uh,
DC
I
movies.
mean, they have lesser moments in Shazam and Aquaman where they get to be. Aquaman's got one with the Karathan, which is fun, but it's not the same impact because he's going up
Yeah.
against a giant kaiju. He's not going up against, you know, the evils of the world in World War I and showing how much how they care.
I think that's the only bad thing about that is I wish it was World War II. Then she'd be killing Nazis, which would be awesome.
The ultimate pass is if your villains are. It's why Indiana Jones is so good. It's a perfect. The heel is automatically the heel. There's
Yeah,
no
and
there's no argument of, well, I mean, it's like, no, they're Nazis. Fuck the Nazis,
yeah,
man.
and immediately if they die, if someone kills them, you're just like, yeah, okay.
You were a Nazi.
Like,
You deserved it.
yep. You're like, yeah, okay, whatever. Doesn't matter to me.
So yeah, I just think music, the character work, everything in this scene for Wonder Woman is damn near perfect, if not perfect. And that is
Yeah.
that one scene is the high point of the entire DCEU, and I would argue of all the DC movies outside of the Dark Knight and the Batman, that's like the moment of the entire DC movie canon from Superman onward. Is at that moment. I'm not saying the movie itself. I think there's a few movies that are better, but in terms of that moment, outside of stuff from the Dark Knight and the Batman, I would say it's the peak of
Yeah.
DC filmmaking.
Off the top of my head, yeah, I can't think of anything in Batman Begins or Dark Knight Rises. So
Um,
yeah.
it's just
Nope.
incredible. So that's why Wonder Woman takes it. Let's go to Collateral. It was an interesting scene, and shot in a really unique way, which I really appreciated.
Well, it's definitely Michael Mann's style.
Yes.
He has his own style, which is usually handheld, usually I wouldn't say frenetic editing. It's not as bad as Born or anything,
No.
but it's usually quick editing,
It's
at least during
interesting.
the actions.
Well, that's the thing. It's interesting, and that's why I think the action scenes stand out in his movies because the rest of his movies are so. The rest of the movie is slow. The heat is slow, and the only time it
Yeah.
has speed is during an action movie. And it seemed
Well,
like
same thing.
Collateral is similar to that.
Yes, same thing with Public Enemies. Yeah.
Yeah, same deal. It's very slow burn. Very much just lets it smolder. Let's just be. And Michael Mann must be really good at cooking barbecue. Just let it be. Don't touch it. Just let it be.
Yeah. I do enjoy his style at times. when it lends itself to the subject matter, it's good.
I think it'd be really interesting to see a a war film from Michael Mann, where Michael
I
Mann is great at making you understand. You root for the heel in every movie. You never root for the babyface. Because when you look at it on the surface of all the big movies that he's made, Heat, you're rooting for De Niro. Collateral, you're rooting for Tom Cruise. You know,
y-
Public
well,
Enemies, you're rooting for Johnny Depp's John Dillinger. You're not rooting for Christian Bale.
yeah, I would say during Collateral, his style actually lends to the moments with Tom Cruise because to me, I always get like a very cold feeling from Michael Mann. It never feels warm. It never feels inviting or welcoming. It
Yeah.
always just comes off as like distant and cold. Um, Same thing. There's a movie called Manhunter, which is like either a prequel or just a side story of The Silence of the Lambs,
Okay.
Hannibal Lecter,
Yeah.
that he did. It's like one of his early movies in the 80s. And that also has that really cold style. And that really lends to the subject matter because it's like about serial killers and stuff. So,
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, it's his style. If you love it, you love it. I mean, there's a reason. There's a whole swath of specifically men of a certain age. They will die on the hill for Heat and the bank robbery scene being one of the best scenes they've ever
true.
seen. To where Heat had, in my mind, no chance to advance in this tournament. Outside of maybe a few movies, I
What
didn't
did
think.
Heat go up
And
against?
went against the original John Wick.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I mean, it still scored points, but it wasn't. When I
Yeah, I
look
had
at
it
it,
split there, but
I outside of a few movies, I don't think Heat had a chance. And I would say Collateral. I think I like the scene in Collateral more than I like the bank robbery scene in Heat.
I'd agree.
It's more efficient with its time. There's someone you're clearly rooting for and you're concerned about. There's more the panic of the bystanders is there, which I really appreciate. And it's a more personal interaction, which I really like, which I think lends to the movie so well. So that's what I would say about that Collateral scene. I think the cinematography is really fun, but far more character focused. This isn't just a shootout in LA. And I know that's derivative to say or derisive to say about Heat because I know that's not exactly what it is, but in comparison, that's what it kind of feels like.
Yeah. Yeah, they're both similar in the beginning where it has a really good build up.
Yeah,
But then when it comes to the climax of the scene, that's when it loses a little bit of steam for me.
yeah,
Like in Heat where the moment they start firing guns, it's just like, okay, whatever. Like that's how I feel about it. So,
sure.
um
I don't think Collateral
Collateral's
has
kind of
that. I don't think Collateral has the same level of.
I would agree. It doesn't fall off as much. So, that's why I gave it at least some
It's also
points.
so interesting to see Tom Cruise with gray hair as the villain. That's fun
He's
to see. That's fun to see.
he's great in that movie too.
But it is interesting nonetheless. So Wonder Woman advances 16-4.